Hey everyone, welcome back. We have some really exciting things we're going to talk about today, including what happens to your store when you put it on vacation mode. I actually just got back from a week-long vacation and I did put my store in vacation mode. We went on a cruise with the family. We went to Dominican Republic, the Virgin Islands. It was a ton of fun. I'll pop up a picture here. Boop. All right, so it was a great trip. And you know what? Us resellers, we deserve vacations too. So don't be afraid to take it. But I am going to explain some things that can happen to your store when you go on vacation mode. We'll compare what I do in a normal week in sales versus a week of the store being in vacation mode, and kind of what happens when you get back and you take it out of vacation mode. You're also going to want to make sure you listen and stay to the end because I am going to be doing a really fun giveaway and you're going to hear about all the details and you're not going to want to miss it. Now, in this video, I'm only going to be showing the sales that I had while I was on vacation mode. I'm not going to show all of my $10 and less sales, but you'll kind of get an idea of what did sell while I was gone. So let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so first up on our sales while we were on vacay is a Hello Kitty Impressions Vanity travel case. This I had picked up at the flea market for $3. It was quite beat up, had a lot of scratches, but it did sell for $30 in about 3 weeks. Here we have two vintage pizza slice shaped plates. These have been in a couple of my videos. These are actually my last two. I'm into them for about $1 a piece. I had bought a huge stack of them for I think $1 or $2, so I'm probably actually into it for more like 15 cents a piece. And my last two sold for $24, and I was able to sell out of all of these plates in about a month. So here we have a Pile Pro audio mixer. This actually came out of a storage locker that I had recently purchased. I loved this locker because it did have a lot of great high-end items that I was able to sell quickly. However, it seemed like they had some sort of filmmaking or audio type business. So a lot of the equipment I was actually able to keep for myself to do YouTube. But this item here was brand new, as were a lot of the items in this locker, luckily. And I took an offer on this one for $40 and I sold it in about 2 weeks. This is another fun storage locker find. This actually came out of the storage locker that I called the Snap-on Tool Locker. It was filled with Snap-on tools as well as some other tools. This was a Ace Super Hex tap and die set. It was incomplete. I believe it was missing 4 pieces. I ended up accepting an offer on this one for $55 and took about 2 months to sell. All right, I'm not gonna lie, I do not know where this silly hanging monkey came from. I believe it came from a storage locker about a year ago. It is a vintage Japan wood hanging monkey. It actually is very cool. All the different joints and everything like that do move. It was missing 1 ear, and I ended up selling it for $25. This one here was a really fun buy. This was actually a multi-quantity item purchase I had done about 2 years ago. I had bought out all these boxes of football ornaments. There was probably about 15 of them for each team, and I think they wanted $5 for all of them. And I still have quite a few left. I've probably sold a little more than half of them, but with it being football season and the Super Bowl coming up, they definitely have been selling more. This was a Dallas Cowboys light up tree ornament that sold for $11. As you can see, it looks like I have 13 left available of this team, and 3 of them have sold so far. I definitely do enjoy those multi-quantity listings. So, speaking of multi-quantity listings, here is another one. I believe I have talked about these in another video recently, but I did sell another set while I was on vacation. These are the PVC figures from PageMaster. Right here it says that I have sold 5 and that there are 3 available. I actually do have some more. I just didn't want to put them all on at once. I believe I have a total of about 15 sets of these, but they are selling pretty quick. They are selling for $17 for a set of 3 of them. They are from the Applause Company, which I do always recommend looking out for any PVC figures that are from Applause because they can do very well. And I had purchased this large lot of these PVCs for $5 for the whole bin. All right, and now we've got some more PVC action going on here. This is actually my last one of this set. It is from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Misfits. These are great to pick up. The Misfits always do really well for me. I had accepted an offer on this one for $25. I believe I spent $1 for it, and it sold in about 2 weeks. Okay, so this is an exciting one. You're going to want to pay attention. This is a Star Wars Galaxy Edge opening day jumbo pin from the Millennium Falcon. It is a limited edition of 1,000. I did buy this for around $20. I sold it for 90 in about 6 months. I am a huge Disney fan, so you will always see me have a lot of Disney items. But as a thank you to all of you that have supported me so far on my journey here on YouTube and have made it this far in the video, I have actually decided that next week I will be giving away one of these Jumbo Star Wars limited edition pins during a live. It's only going to be about 5 to 10 minutes long, but I will have all the details at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around. All right, here we have one of the vintage Russian nesting dolls. I do like picking these up if I can get them cheap enough. I had bought a huge lot of about 20 nesting dolls for $20. This was one of the lower end ones. I had sold it for $15. It did take almost a year to sell. However, there are plenty, as well as some I had in this lot, that can go for a couple hundred. I've even seen some go in the thousands. So make sure you're taking a look at those hand-painted Russian nesting dolls. And here is another item from that Snap-on storage locker that I had purchased. Like I said, I knew Snap-on was worth money. I had no idea that even just one socket could go for this much, and this locker was filled with them. This was a Snap-on deep socket 27, half-inch drive. I sold this one on an offer for $50, and it took about 3 months to sell this one, and I believe I only have a handful left of these sockets. This is another storage locker find. This came from a locker where they were very heavy into video games and electronics. This was one of the games I found in the locker. It was a sealed Grand Theft Auto 5 for the Xbox One, and there were actually 2 of these sealed. I have sold the first one for $17, and it took about 1 month to sell. All right, this item is my favorite item out of everything I'm going to show you today. This was a really hard one for me to part with. I had bought this Disney Ratatouille hat for myself. It was in my kitchen for about a year, and I finally decided to part with it. I had left the tags on because I knew I was probably going to part with it. This hat has a button on the side that plays music from the Ratatouille movie. And if you've seen it, you know you've got Remy inside the hat cooking, and he pops out of the hat and he's pulling on hair and helping the guy cook the food. Well, when you press the button, there's a rat inside, and you can see little silhouettes of the rat going around the hat. And then at the end of the song, he pops out of the top of the hat, and it is the cutest thing ever. I never really used it. I just liked looking at it, but I did part with it. I sold it for $65. It did have a couple of stains on it, but this is definitely one of my favorite Disney pieces. So, sticking with the Disney theme, I did sell this Santa's Best glass Tigger ornament. Now, I have to say, I've been surprised at how many Christmas ornaments I have been selling after Christmas. I know some people only like to post their Christmas items closer to the end of the year. I, however, do post all my holiday items year round, and I actually have some of my biggest Christmas ornament sales in January and February. And I think a lot of that has to do with possibly people breaking their ornaments when they're taking their tree down and they want to replace them. So I personally recommend if you have Christmas items, you should still be posting them year round. Okay, so this was another find from that video game storage locker. It is a Sure Shot HD Big Buck Hunter game, just the sensor bar. And I was quite shocked at these. These have an incredible sell-through rate. I ended up posting this one and selling it for $40, and I sold it in about 24 hours. There are not many of these available, and there are a lot sold. So be on the lookout for this Sure Shot sensor bar for the Big Buck Hunter game. Okay, so plot twist, we are going to take a look at my other eBay store. Yes, I have two eBay stores. I have not brought that up yet. My main eBay store is Kaylin's Collectibles. However, I do have a second account, which is BJ Perfume Store. The reason why I wanted to separate and have a second account is because I think it's very important that things like perfume, high-end clothes, high-end shoes, purses are separate. Because on Kaylin's Collectibles, I have a mishmash, but mainly a lot of pop culture type items. And I feel like the higher end perfume and clothes is a different crowd. So I did separate it, and we're going to take a look at a couple of the sales that I had over there. First up here is G by Giorgio Beverly Hills, and this was a lot of 5 miniature perfumes that I sold for $20, and they did take about a year to sell. Now, if you happen to catch my video where I had purchased a large amount of shoes for $100, this was one of the pairs of shoes in there. Now, I have mentioned that I do not like selling or posting shoes. The reason I purchased these was because the price was really good and they were all brand new. Now, I have sold about half of the shoes so far, and I've been selling them for around $45 to $65 a pair. These ones here I sold for $50. They were all SAS shoes, and these were SAS relaxed black leather flat sandals. They are a size 6, which I wasn't super happy about when I bought these shoes. They were all size 6 and 7, which are definitely harder sizes to sell, but I have been shocked at how well they have been selling. So don't let those small sizes discourage you if it's a good brand. And up next, we have some PS by Paul Sebastian. This was a lot of 5 mini 1-ounce colognes. I am officially sold out of these. We sold these ones for $37.99, and these also did take about a year to sell. All right, so there you have it. Now let's go ahead and just do a little bit of comparison of how this week went compared to a week when I'm not in vacation mode. So in an average week, I do around $2,000 a week in sales. Now again, sometimes it might be $1,500, sometimes it might be $3,000, but we'll go with an average of about $2,000 a week. Now, In vacation mode, my total sales, I'm not including all the $5 sales, there were a few of those, but we're looking at around $640 I did for the week that I was gone. Now, obviously, that's not great compared to what I normally do. It's about a quarter, but it is still possible to have some sales rolling in while you're on vacation. So don't let that stop you from taking that trip. Now, obviously, I don't know your financial situation, but if you can do it, I say do it, because your store will still stay alive. Your sales will go down to about a quarter, at least it did for me. Now, I have been back home from vacation for about 4 days now, and it does take the store a little bit of time to get going again. The first day, I think I had only 1 sale. Then the second day it went up to 3, and I believe now I'm doing about 5 or 6 sales. So it does gradually take some time to pick up. But ultimately, I'm glad I did it. I needed a break mentally from all the work. You know, we're working sometimes 7 days a week nonstop. We don't get those typical days off sometimes when you're a reseller. But now to bring me to my most exciting point that you guys are gonna wanna pay attention to is my giveaway. So, as a thank you, because you guys have been amazing. I know I'm still new to YouTube and I'm hoping to continue to grow. But as I hit certain milestones that I've set up for myself, I would also like to give back. So, one of my videos I released very early on at a flea market involving Star Wars figurines was my first video that really kind of took off. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a giveaway option that involves Star Wars, but also my favorite thing, which is Disney. So next week, I will be giving away this. Let's see, that's a lot of glare. There we go. This is a limited edition. There was only 2,000 of these made, Disney pin. It was from a grand opening of the Galaxy's Edge Star Wars. It's a jumbo pin and it does come in the box. And this is gonna go to one of you lucky viewers. All you have to do is write any sort of comment down below, whether something that surprised you that I sold, maybe a vacation you went on. Talk about cruises. I can talk about reselling and cruises all day long. Just some sort of comment. It doesn't have to have any certain word. I am going to go ahead and put all of the comments into a randomizer, and then I am actually going to pull the name live. You do not need to be there to win. I'm gonna do it on, let's see here. We're gonna do it on January 22nd. It's a Thursday. We're gonna do it at noon Eastern time. So 12 o'clock Eastern time, noon. I'm gonna come on for 5 minutes. I'll run the randomizer. And then if your name gets chosen, you will get this. And I will post it. So if you miss it, you can watch the replay. And then of course, after I pull the winning name, I'll give you a week to respond back to me with your address and everything so you can get the prize. But you're not gonna want to miss that. And like I said, I would love to keep doing that. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on some of these giveaways. But mentally, I've kind of come up with some ideas of different milestones I really want to hit. And like I said, you guys have just been amazing. So let's do it. Like I said, on this video, go ahead and write a comment down below and you'll be entered in for a giveaway. Where did I get? There we go. Of the Star Wars jumbo pin. So I hope you were able to find some helpful information too about maybe any ideas you have with going into vacation mode and what could happen to your store. If you have any more questions, just go ahead and leave it down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.